When I began thinking about who could play my mom and dad, a couple people popped into my head quite quickly. One of them was Michelle Williams. She had a feeling that was familiar to me.
I thought that was the greatest show on earth.
She had such an incredible sense of style, such an incredible sense of herself. The exuberance and the courage that she lived with are things that I don't ever want to part from.
You really see me.
I've had a tremendous admiration for Paul, how he loses himself in roles, and was hoping that the same would happen with my dad.
One of the first tapes I listened to of Arnold, he said electronics was a way of life for me. And so right there, I tried to get in touch with that part of myself or with that part of him. You spent half the time on algebra that you spend on these movies?
I hate algebra. I want to make movies, though.
The hardest part to cast was the part of Sammy, because it forced me to ask myself this question: how well do you really know yourself?
Action.
He was clear he didn't want it to be mimicking him. The story speaks for itself, so he let me do a lot of it on my own.
It was outwardly emotional throughout the entire process, to the point where it felt like sometimes a catharsis was happening, like as we were filming.
You stop making movies, it'll break your mother's heart.
This was an honor to be in a movie like this.
You see, what she got in her heart is what you got, what I got. Art.
I couldn't wait to see what he was going to tell me and to see where that would take me. And he was so much my partner in that, and the most incredible actor's director.
That was a great day. I was getting that last take. I walked onto the set the first day, and there was a perfect recreation of my childhood house from Phoenix, Arizona.
There it is.
There it is. Nice.
Every room that Rick Carter had designed based on pictures that I had given him and visits he made to the actual location in Arizona. And I had to really control myself because it was kind of weird to see your house reconstructed. Oh, the paintings are all here. Look at that.
So cool.
We wanted to make sure that when he walked into the set, the places that he would see, those are things that are exactly as they were for him growing up.
All right. All right, you ready to go? This movie for me was like a time machine because I knew where I was at every moment. And I realized at the end of shooting The Fabelmans, I would never be able to go home again. But at least I've got this film to share.
I will never leave Arizona, and Arizona will never leave me.
All of the key people that have worked with me over the course of several decades, they're very accustomed to seeing my dad and my mom showing up on the set to watch, and we all miss them. And in a way, we got to enjoy them and be with them again in a whole different iteration.
Movies are dreams that you never forget.
I think when you're going to make a super personal movie, you're going to bring in your closest collaborators because that felt safe, and these people knew the family that we were putting on film.
In this family, it's the scientists versus the artists. Sammy's on my team, takes after me.
His mother was effervescent, a light, she just lit up and she was active. And the father was a nice guy, he was a quiet fella.
You can't just love something, you also have to take care of it.
Most of the movies that we've made, Steve and I, are emotional journeys of storytelling through movies.
What kind of movie are we gonna make?
We wanted to make a movie that reflected a human experience that's familiar to people who have had human experiences.
It's more important than your hobby.
Can you stop calling it a hobby?
This has been a long, strange trip with Steven since 1984 on Goonies, and to go through all these adventures with dinosaurs and aliens and historical pieces, but to bring them back to literally home into the story called The Fabelmans.
Family, art, it'll tear you in two.
And then for Johnny Williams and me, we've worked together for 50 years, starting in 1972.
Well, when I played this theme, which is a theme for mother and child, I looked up at him. He was standing here and he wouldn't speak. He was starting to weep a little bit. I was moved that he was so moved.
You do what your heart says you have to.
For us to have been able to come together on this picture, which I would consider to be my most personal movie of my career, ever since we started working together.